Burn and brew with Coven true, and glory shall be thine.
Hey friends, it's Jasmine, and I hope that you all are doing well. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and supporting me and this channel. It really means a lot to me. And if this is your first time here, hi. I'm Jasmine. I am a practicing witch and I talk about it here on the internet. So if traditional folkloric witchcraft is kind of your thing, that's very much what I'm into. But I talk about other stuff here as well. All of my links are going to be down below in the description if you want to check me out elsewhere. Today's video is going to be kind of more like a video essay, if you will, where I'm going to be touching on some topics that I think are cool and relevant to traditional craft and my practice that I just want to have dialogue about. So without any further ado, we're just going to jump right into it now.
Concept of witch blood and the origin of witches and lore often revolves around the idea that certain individuals possess a unique lineage or bloodline. This grants them magical abilities. This concept can vary widely depending on the cultural context and the specific lore. I do want to give a disclaimer here that this is a controversial topic, and information in this video is presented for educational purposes and food for thought. I myself do not entertain the idea of witch supremacy or that some people are inherently born more valuable than other people. That ideology can spiral into a very weird eugenic territory that is not what the conversation about witch blood is going to be about. Let's first start with how in many stories, witches are depicted as descendants of ancient, powerful beings, such as gods, fairies, or other entities. This special bloodline is believed to imbue them with inherent magical powers, which can be passed through generations. The idea of witch blood often carries themes of destiny and inherited power, suggesting that witches are born rather than made. However, I'm going to make a separate video exploring more on the age-old debate of are witches born or made, so make sure that you check that out if you're interested in that. In some traditions, the origin of witches is tied to a pact with supernatural forces, such as demons or spirits, who grant them their powers in exchange for loyalty or service. And this narrative often emphasizes the moral ambiguity and the potential danger of wielding such power. Overall, the concept of witch blood highlights what is seen as mystical and often secretive, the nature of witches, suggesting that our abilities are both a gift and a burden, shaped by unique heritage and connection with the perceived supernatural. Let's dive into the lore, starting first with the Gospel of Witches. The Gospel of Witches refers to a text known as Aradia, or the Gospel of Witches, written by Charles Godfrey Leland and published in 1899. This book is considered one of the foundational texts of modern witchcraft. Aradia presents a collection of folklore, spells, and myths that Leland claimed were passed down through generations of Italian witches. The central figure in this text being Aradia, a messianic figure who is said to be the daughter of the goddess Diana and her brother Lucifer. According to the lore, Aradia was sent to Earth to teach the oppressed how to practice witchcraft and resist their oppressors. This book includes various teachings, rituals, and incantations that are meant to empower practitioners and connect them with a lineage of craft. It emphasizes themes of liberation, resistance, and the reclaiming of personal power through magical practices. While the authenticity and historical accuracy of Aradia have been debated, its influence on the modern witchcraft movements is undeniable. The idea of witch blood being from this origin source can be seen in multiple ways. The first notion of witches being made through the Aradian Mysteries. Some folks see Aradia not just as one figure, but also a title. Aradia initiating folks into the mystery, who then later initiate others into the mystery. Numerous styles of art are mentioned and taught, like how to bless or curse, how to practice divination and perform full moon rituals, among others. There are 13 magical workings that are exalted in the text, and the disciples of Aradia learn them and then pass them on to new disciples. The idea that witches are born here can be drawn from the lore that the nymphs in the text are also the children of Diana, whom Aradia is one of. The offspring of the Tragunda rituals could then have nymph blood or Diana's blood running through them, granting them their magical powers and suggesting the mystery of nymph blood being witch blood. I have made several book reviews on my channel reviewing various versions and interpretations of the Witch's Gospel if you are interested. I have a playlist where you can find all of my book reviews here on the channel. The next witch blood origin lore would be the Gregori, also known as the Watchers, a group of fallen angels mentioned in various holy texts, including the Book of Enoch, which is part of the apocryphal literature. According to these texts, the Gregori were originally sent to Earth to watch over humanity. However, they become enamored with human women and choose to abandon their heavenly duties, taking mortal wives and teaching humans forbidden knowledge. The union between the Gregori and human women resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, a race of giants described as being both powerful and malevolent. The Gregori are often associated with the dissemination of advanced knowledge and skills, such as metallurgy, astrology, and sorcery, which are considered taboo and dangerous. Their actions led to the eventual fall from grace and punishment by God, as they were seen as corrupting influences on humanity. The story of the Gregori and the Nephilim has had a lasting impact on various mythologies and has been a source of inspiration for numerous works of fiction and mystical lore. We cannot discuss this mystery without also touching on the Daughters of Cain, who often are referenced in various stories and esoteric traditions. In some interpretations, they are considered to be the literal descendants of Cain, the firstborn son of Adam and Eve, who was infamous for killing his brother Abel. These daughters are sometimes depicted as powerful and enigmatic women who carry the mark or legacy of Cain, which we are going to touch on later in this video. In certain occult and mystical traditions, the Daughters of Cain are seen as figures who embody themes of rebellion, independence, and hidden knowledge. They are often associated with the transmission of secret wisdom and the continuation of Cain's lineage, which is sometimes portrayed as having a unique and potent connection to the supernatural or the forbidden. If you couple the mysteries of the Daughters of Cain, carrying that power, and mixing with the angelic Gregori, who then birthed the Nephilim, we can see how this can spin into stories of witches being born from this narrative, like as above, so the Gregori, and as below, so the Daughters of Cain. Now, let's take a look at Cain further. Cain is a prominent figure in the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis. He is the firstborn son of Adam and Eve and is best known for committing the first murder by killing his younger brother Abel. The story of Cain and Abel is often interpreted as a tale of jealousy, anger, and the consequences of sin. According to the biblical account, Cain and Abel both made offerings to God. Abel, a shepherd, offered the best portions of his flock, while Cain, a farmer, offered his fruits from the ground. God favored Abel's offering over Cain's, which led to Cain becoming extremely jealous and angry, and in a fit of rage, Cain lured Abel into the field and killed him. As a result of his actions, God punished Cain by cursing him to be a wanderer and a fugitive on the earth. Additionally, God placed a mark on Cain, which would affect all of his descendants. Now, the exact nature of the mark of Cain is not described in detail in the Bible, leading to various interpretations and speculations over the centuries. Some believe it was a physical mark on the body, while others think it may have been a sign or a curse that made it clear to others that Cain was cursed by God. There is also some pretty problematic aspects of the mark of Cain with the Mormon Church. Historically, some members and leaders of the LDS Church did teach that the mark of Cain was associated with black skin. This belief was used to justify racial restrictions within the church, such as the priesthood ban that prevented black men from holding the priesthood and black members from participating in certain temple ordinances. Some folks see Adam as not Cain's father, but the serpent who impregnated Eve in the garden, and Eve having had 2 eggs, one fertilized by Adam and the other the serpent. The serpent being an entity in of itself or a metaphor for Lilith, who was made as the first woman and in the same image as Adam, who some draw might be a suggestion to a hermaphrodite like nature. The serpent could also be Satan or some other fallen angel. The idea that Adam was Abel's father and Satan was Cain's is not a concept found in mainstream biblical texts or traditional Christian teachings. This notion comes from certain Gnostic and esoteric interpretations, which are not widely accepted by mainstream Christianity, but often regarded by some sects of witches. Also, in the stories of Cain, we have one of his descendants, Tubal Kain. Tubal Kain is a figure mentioned in the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis. He is described as being a descendant of Cain, the son of Lamech and Zillah. Tubal Kain is notable for being a skilled metal worker. He is credited with being an instructor of every brass and iron. In Genesis 4:22, this makes him an important figure in the development of metallurgy and craftsmanship in the biblical narrative. In some esoteric and Masonic traditions, Tubal Kain is seen as a symbolic figure representing craftsmanship, skill, and the transformative power of working with metals. These traditions often imbue him with a deeper symbolic meaning related to the mastery of material and spiritual elements. Mysteries call to the idea of witch fire and the sacred forge, a connection of witches being born by Cain and made by Tubal, forged in sacred flame. We also have some European lore where fairies are often depicted as powerful and otherworldly beings with the ability to manipulate nature, cast spells, and influence human affairs. Some tales suggest that humans who had encounters with the fairies could gain magical knowledge or powers, leading to the association of these humans with witchcraft. Additionally, in some traditions, witches were believed to have fairy familiars or receive magical abilities directly from the fair. This connection between fairies and witches highlights the blending of different elements of folklore and the supernatural, and explaining the origins and the powers of witches. Overall, the association between fairies and witches varies across different cultures and stories, but the idea of fairies as an origin of witches reflects the rich and complex tapestry that weaves between folklore and myth. I find it also important that we bring up an influential figure from history and lore, known as Cersei. Cersei is a figure from Greek mythology renowned for her abilities as a powerful enchantress. She is most famously featured in Homer's Odyssey, where she encounters the hero Odysseus and his men on her island, Aiaia. Cersei is the daughter of the sun god Helios and the ocean nymph Perse, known for her extensive knowledge of potions and herbs referenced as pharmakeia. She uses her abilities to transform Odysseus's men into swine when they first arrive on her island. Cersei then becomes an ally to Odysseus, offering him guidance and advice for the next stages of his journey. In some versions of the myth, she even becomes his lover and bears him children, suggesting witches being born of this union, carrying the blood of the the nymphs and the old gods, like her father, the sun titan Helios. Cersei's character is complex, embodying both the danger and allure that magic holds. She represents the archetype of the powerful, independent woman who wields significant control over her environment and manipulates those around her. Her story has been retold and reinterpreted in various works of literature and art throughout the centuries, highlighting her enduring fascination as a mythological figure. One of my favorite books is Cersei by Madeline Miller, which I have also reviewed here on my channel as well. If you're interested, check it out and let me know what you think. I personally really admire Cersei. I find her to be fascinating.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you like this style of video, let me know and I'll keep making them. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more of me, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, friends, blessed be, and I will see you in hell. Bye.
Seekest thou the road to all that's foul and fair? Gather, sisters, fire, water, earth, and air. Darkest hour, wake thy power, earthly and divine. Burn and brew with Coven true, and glory shall be thine. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road.